Okay, just to recap, I had to stop my video there. Sorry about that. Had to stop my video. I can't go over 15 minutes, so I just decided to stop it right there since I just finished this problem. So again, every single time you're going to write the equation of a line, you have to have two things. You got to have point and slope. And we've talked about different ways you have to find slope, either with the formula or perpendicular cases like this example illustrated, or parallel case. And once you have that, and once you have a point, you always want to use that point-slope formula to end up writing the equation of the line. You got to be careful with your signs when you're using the formula, and you got to be careful when you distribute and with fractions and stuff. So be real careful about all that kind of arithmetic side of it, and just make sure you don't make some careless mistakes and things of that nature. Three more examples to work, and then I'll be done. So on the next page, page 20, first example, the only example, sorry, top of that page, it says find the equation of the line parallel, so very similar to the previous example, except now we're talking about parallel. So parallel to 7x minus 3y is equal to 10, and the point that they give us is the point 9, negative 1. So again, I'm going to sound like a broken record here. Two things that you need. You need point, which they were nice enough to just go ahead and give me, which usually they will. Actually, every single time they'll give you a point to use. And then I need the slope, and they haven't come right out and told me that yet. But just like with the previous example, I'm wanting to find the line that's parallel to the line they gave me. So we know that parallel lines, they should have the same slope. So I'm going to use that fact to get my slope. To do that, I got to find the slope of the line that they gave me. So rewrite it down here a little bit nicer. So 7x minus 3y equal to 10. Put that in slope-intercept form. That's going to be negative 3y is equal to, going to move that positive 7x over, becomes a negative 7x. So it's going to be negative 7x plus 10. And then I'm going to divide everything through by negative 3. So I'm going to divide by negative 3, divide by negative 3, divide by negative 3. Divide everything by negative 3. And that gives me that y is equal to a negative divided by a negative, which is a positive. So this is positive 7 over 3x, and then minus 10/3. I want the line parallel. So the slope that I'm going to use is 7 over 3, since they're parallel. If it said perpendicular, I would have flipped it and changed the sign at that point, but it said parallel, so make sure you read carefully. So now I have both the pieces of the information that I need to solve this problem. I have my point, I have my slope. So I'm going to use my formula. So y minus my y value, I'm going to go ahead and skip it to it, it says rewrite in the formula. So y minus my y value, which is negative 1, is equal to 7/3 times x minus my x value, which is 9. So this is going to be y plus 1 is equal to, over here on the right hand side, I'm going to distribute that 7/3 into both of my terms. So it's going to be 7/3 times x, and then I have to take 7/3 times negative 9. So a positive times a negative is going to give me a negative, and however you got to get to what 7/3 times 9 is. If you just want to go ahead and multiply straight across, whatever you need to do. So let me do it down to the side over here. But I'm fixing to have to take 7/3. I'll do it at the bottom. I'm going to have to take 7/3, if I can write, and I have to multiply it by 9. And 9 we can write as 9 over 1. So you can multiply straight across and get 63 over 3. So 7 times 9 is 63. 3 times 1 is 3. And reduce that to 21. Or, if you prefer, you can reduce and just get 7 times 3, 21. Either way, you get to the fact that this is minus 21 over here. But you're multiplying right there, so keep that in mind. And now, to finish this problem off, I'm going to subtract 1 on both sides. So minus 1 and minus 1. And that gives me that y is equal to 7/3 times x. And negative 21 minus 1 is going to give me negative 22. So my final answer there is 7/3 x minus 22. Same idea as every other example I've been working. You're eventually going to have to use that point-slope formula. But in this case, I had to use what they gave me to find the slope, and then use the facts that we know about parallel to figure out whether we want to use the same slope or the reciprocal and the opposite sign. So be real careful about whether they say parallel versus perpendicular. You got to read carefully every single time. Okay, two more examples. So the next one, very similar. It says find the equation of the line parallel. So we're doing parallel again. So parallel to 4x plus 2y equals 10. So 4x plus 2y equal to 10. And the point that they want me to use is negative 5, 0. So I'm going to write my point over here. My point that they want me to use is negative 5, 0. And my slope I don't have yet. But just like the previous example, I can use this to find my slope, the line that they gave me. So if I put this into slope-intercept form, that gives me that 2y is equal to negative 4x plus 10. And then divide through by 2. So divide by 2, divide by 2, divide by 2. And that gives me that y is equal to negative 2x plus 5. So I want the one parallel. Slope of that line is negative 2. So the line that I need also needs to have a slope of negative 2. And then just like the previous example, I'm going to use that point slope formula to finish this off. So y minus my y value, which in this case is 0, is equal to my slope, which is negative 2, times x minus my x value, which is negative 5. So y minus 0 is just going to be y, so y is going to be equal to negative 2 times x plus 5. We'll do minus and negative, make that a positive, and then distribute, and I'm done. So get y is equal to negative 2x minus 10. Again, just another example to reinforce. Sound like a broken record, doing the same thing over and over and over and over. But you have to get the process down. You've got to have a point, you've got to have the slope. And I've given you different examples of how you find that slope. Whether they're, go ahead and come right out and give you the slope, whether you have 2 points, have to use a slope formula, or you have some stuff about parallel perpendicular. The very last example is a little bit different, simply because of the type of lines that we're talking about here. It says find the equation of the line perpendicular, use a symbol for shorthand here, perpendicular to x equal to negative 2. Now, our regular old point slope formula does not work for this problem because of the type of line that x equal to negative 2 is, and because of the slope. So we know that x equal to negative 2, when we see that, we immediately think about two things. The fact that this is a vertical line, so this is what makes it a little bit different, is that it's a vertical line and that my slope is undefined. So it's kind of hard to reciprocate something that's undefined. And you can, but you got to remember about what it means to be undefined, the fact that you're dividing by 0. But for me, the easiest way to do this is just to draw you the picture of what's going on here. This is the one time where the picture is your answer. So, vertical line, x equal to negative 2. So I'm going to freehand this down here. So x equal to negative 2. So there's negative 1, there's negative 2. So there's x equal to negative 2, my best vertical line that I can freehand here. And I want a line that's perpendicular. Well, if I want one that's perpendicular, that means it's going to intersect it at a right angle, which means that my line that's perpendicular is going to be a horizontal line. And we know that horizontal lines have a slope of 0. So in a sense, I am reciprocating the undefined to get the 0. So I need a horizontal line. And I want it to go through the point 3, negative 4. So I'm going to draw it in black here. So 3, negative 4 is over 3 down to negative 4. So there's the point 3, negative 4. And I want a line that's horizontal going through that point right there. So the coordinates of that point are 3, negative 4. So that means that my line that is perpendicular to the line x equal to negative 2 is my line here in black. And we know that the equation of any horizontal line is just y equal to something. And in this case, my y value is negative 4. So my line is that y is equal to negative 4. So there's the line perpendicular to x equal to negative 2. So, so vertical and horizontal lines, as I've mentioned to you before, you kind of have to treat them in their own category because of how their slopes are, the fact that one of them's undefined and one of them's 0. And so if you get to something that deals with vertical or horizontal lines, I would encourage you to draw the picture, because the picture will help you figure out the parallel or the perpendicular, and it's either going to be a vertical or a horizontal line, depending on which case you're looking at. whether you're talking about the parallel case or the perpendicular case. I hope those examples helped you. Like I said in class, we're going to be working on some worksheets to kind of reinforce this and to hopefully help you have a better understanding.